Don't forget. Some things mustn't be forgotten. The shadow hunting me. I must hurry. My name is Daniel. I live in London at Mayfair. What have I done? This is crazy. Don't forget. Don't forget. I must stop him. Focus. My name is... I am Daniel.
Apa kita protektornya ke Philly?
This is one of the first level that we created for the game, and it was initially part of the archives level, which we will reach in a bit. Amnesia started out with a pretty different design, and when we redesigned it, the maps did not fit. This caused us to split them up and scatter them out. So in the first design, after this corridor, the archives level was supposed to follow, and the room lying there now was built much later. In fact, the first designs did not have Daniel waking up with an amnesia at all, and it was actually added later on. In the first story draft, Daniel still had hidden memories, but he was unaware of this at the start of the story. However, as we redesigned things, we found a waking up with amnesia thingy, although a bit cliché, much more fitting.
Hello everyone, my name is Mikael, and I'm the writer for Amnesia, The Dark Descent. I think we can all feel the story kick-starting as we finish the letter from Daniel. The game itself is just filled with confusion, and I think we're really doing the player a service keeping it simple in the beginning. Basically try to take your revenge in Alexander. That is the premise of the game. You don't really need to dive any deeper.
Hello, my name is Martin Kender. I'm a 3D artist and level creator at Fictional Games. I started out as a helper during Penumbra Overture, and I was finally hired as a full-time artist in the later part of Penumbra Black Plague.
I believe I have. Is it connected to the... what did you call it?
The inner sanctum. My most precious chamber, Daniel. And it lies well beyond the refinery. In fact, it lies beneath the very stone of Brennenburg.
To finish this little overview of our tools, I must mention the material editor, available both standalone and built into the other editors. The program itself is very simple to use. You have some material types defined by the engine, and you can throw in textures to be used for diffuse, normal maps, height maps, as well as some variables to control specific parameters for a material type. When I was writing it, I could just stare while the preview model rotated around itself and the parallax.
When I started writing, I had only outlined the framework for the story and the first few levels in the game design document, so I ended up finalizing a lot of material for the first levels, and then when those were done, we planned out the last 2/3 or so. This had a funny effect since I had to not only cater to the story, but to stay true to the stuff I had written for the first levels. Usually you can go back and forth while writing and change things, but if you have already recorded voices, you really shouldn't because of the costs. So the first text really shaped the rest of the material in a way, and made them matter in a way I hadn't thought about. I really like how this thickens the story elements as I am able to jump back into the material and keep using and reinforcing certain concepts. Agrippa is of course the most extreme effect of this method, which grew from a small reference to becoming one of the most important characters in the game.
You hear that? If it stops, you'll have to start over.
Isn't all this a bit excessive?
You can never be too careful, Daniel.
our development blog back when it started, you might have missed one of the biggest changes in our production pipeline. 2 years back, we started a toolset side project to ease and speed up the creation of content for the game. I'd say the level editor, which is what we, or more specifically James, Mark and Marcus, have used to build all the halls and corridors you are working through right now, is the big start of the pack. Its workings in a nutshell, while all the models and assets are actually made in software like Maya or Blender, everything beyond the
Where did the tyrant go?
Who cares? He left us enough wine to last us a lifetime! Or at least until tomorrow!
What's happening? Oh, feels like my chest is going to burst.
My God! Wilhelm, do something!
Accept it. We're not getting out of here.
How can you say that? Alexander, you piece of shit! Let us out of here!
Oh, no.
A major design guideline for us was to give each level a unique theme, something that all puzzles, events, and the general
There should be more coop racks. fun part. Aquaforce.
This is one of the many hub levels in the game, and this is a design concept that we started out with in Penumbra. The idea is to give the player some freedom on where to go, but at the same time give a clear objective. In this level, the slime obstacle is the thing that the player needs to get. This level was first called Distillery, and if you check the data file, it's still named as such. Now, for some reason I told Mikke, a writer, that it was called Refinery, and the voiceover was recorded with the wrong name. Since it's easier to change a name than a piece of voice data, we had to rename it. I'm glad I said Refinery though, and not King's Hall or Grandma's Vegetable Patch. That would not have been as fitting.
Straight, and make sure not to stray.
I found my...
From Amnesia to Dark Descent. You may have heard my music before if you played the Penumbra game series. The Guardian monster has its own musical theme, which you can hear in many situations in the game, even if the Guardian is not physically present. Actually, it's more like the noise sound than a certain melody, and I played it with my bassoon. The theme has many forms, and this one is almost a direct sound coming from the instrument. And this noise which sounds like screaming, it's a highly modified version of it.
And I made monster sounds and vision sounds for this game. Yeah, I just like this monster. I think it was pretty fun to make because there was underwater sounds as well as sounds from the above. I think I wanted it to sound like a very big monster but still very fast. And I thought the voice itself needed to be like exploring close waters, passing around and making other sounds. Actually, a great example is the attack sound. There is a big water splash as it sounds from the water. At the same time you can hear a short scream sound which is made from the cat sounds. I think it works great. I think other great sound is when it's just eating in the water. You can hear it evenly, the ones passing under the water. I made the eating sounds by walking in the water.
Gata. Aspetta.
Again, there's a lot of elements here working together. Not only does the player enter the darkest level yet, they'll also come up against a dark part of Daniel's memories. We've tried to have all aspects of the level work towards this goal. Hopefully it creates an oppressive and disturbing field.
Let me go! I won't tell anyone, I swear! I just want to go home! No! Get away from me! Leave me alone!
Get your bag, Daniel.
I won't, Herbert.
There is no shame in using a parasol in the desert. As it happens, it's imperative to your survival.
But it looks ridiculous.
The shade will hurt much less than dying, I assure you.
My journal is gone. What would they want with my journal? Second of French. Third of July. Is it? Please, let it be here.
In the original pitch, Herbert was a fairly important character, but it didn't really reflect in the games, so we tried a few different things to incorporate him, but it never really made any sense. Herbert was important to Daniel's background, but in the end he didn't have any impact on the story happening right now.
This map was one of the most fun to make because of the rooms have more objects than we usually add in a level. I think the first 2 rooms was pretty good, just because of this. But we can't add this many objects in every room in the game, because that would, first of all, be very demanding on your PC's performance, and a lot of our players doesn't have gaming rigs. Secondly, it wouldn't make sense if every room or corridor was a storage. We also try very hard to vary the levels and rooms as much as we can do. This level was also the first time in the game the player had any contact with the outside. So for this part I had to make a couple of different wall pieces, a pine tree and breakable version of the window. And I can talk a little bit more about the breakable window here. When creating breakable objects like this, we have to first of all break the model by splitting parts up in gradient pieces. Like on this window, it has a lot of wood parts.
No, that's a shield. Onde? Acolo. Aici, acolo. Lasă. E ceva obuzată. O cercă? Du-te.
They're loose after it breaks.
The decision to have the player go outside in this map started out as a quick and dirty idea for some sort of puzzle. However, it turned out very nicely, and to see the trees really gives a feeling of being in a castle and not just on some set. The first idea was not even to have the player break the window and just have it open directly instead. But when we added it, we felt it gave a really nice feel and reward for finishing the puzzle. In retrospect, We should have had more moments when the player ventures outside, and it gives this feel of being in part of a larger world.
When I first got
You have an ascending room. Will it take us to the inner sanctum?
It will definitely take care of the vertical part of our journey. So, you have ridden an elevator before?
Yes, the Colosseum of Regent's Park.
This is another one of those contrast levels, this time calming the player down for what will happen once the elevator is finally running. The map is still dark though, giving a bit of foreboding for what is about to happen.
July, as I was.
This is another one of those contrast levels, this time calming the player down for what will happen once the elevator is finally running. The map is still dark though, giving a bit of foreboding for what is about to happen.
Stai, că nu mai duc aminte cum. Bine. Nu știu. 1988. Sus. Sus, jos. Așa. Uite aici. 1, 2, 3, 3. Ce greu, atât. Aha. Jos. Da, așa. Nu se pune. Stai. 2.
Yes, the Colosseum at Regent's Park has one. It takes you to the gallery where you can view the panorama.
Good. This ride might be a little longer, and in the other direction.
Așa, pare pe Amnesia. Și atât. Nu, nu schimb.
Actually constructed like one at a Swedish theme park. It's not the elevator that moves, but the wall. I assume movies use the same trick a lot.
What? Aici nu mai pot să vezi deloc. Nu mai pot.
Come this way.
What was that?
Forgive me, I should have warned you. One of my responsibilities as a baron is that of a prison warden. This is where criminals are locked up.
Like a dungeon?
Very much so. Come, don't linger.
Nu știu să scriu, vă rog frumos. Dungeon time. Nu știu când trebuie să merg, că vezi că m-am jucat de mult și nu mereu că hai să spun că am uitat în 9 zile, am uitat în 9 zile. A și la sus, urcat jos, sus, nu știu cum se cheamă. Hai! Ei! Ma, instant 3 o băgat. caça pra caça. Chumbão! Tá tudo maneiro.
Where is she? Where did she go?
No! Oh, tell! I'll never tell you!
You're just making things worse. Look, this is no place for a young girl all by herself. She could be hurt or worse. There's no telling what horrors await down there.
But Mother, I don't want to leave without you.
Hurry, child. You must go. Find Gabriel, the outlaw, and tell him to alert the king's men.
No, you come too.
Please, we don't have time to make the whole...
But...
Someone is coming. Hurry. I'll cover the hole with the bed. Everything will be fine. I promise.
Aici. Bun. A, ba da.
Is he safe? Well, it's for his own good. Soon it will be ready. Let there be enough time.
Amnesia. Collection. Eu puteți să căutați acolo și partea a doua. Ok? Puteți să căutați acolo și partea a doua. Asta. Puteți partea a doua. Partea a doua e mai simplu. Trei deodată.
They are dead. Oprit și băgăm un carcator mega
un mega cărcător ca să încarc și magneta. Da. Mai încolo un pic. Mai treabă. Nu e. Secunde. Poate este cartă. Să vedem cum se încarcă magneta nouă. Nu skip. Aici dăm.
That was the sun.
Odată mă răspire. Yes! Da! Hai că trebuie să fac. De câte ore? O oră.
Shadow. It's close now.
Gata! Nu mai vin. Nu. Pauză. Lasă-mă.
So you used the drain sewers as a means of transport?
Yes, they were built to divert water from an underground spring and are quite spacious. It seemed only natural to incorporate it into the overall structure.
But we won't be using it.
Not today. The flow is seasonal, and when the spring runs dry, the damp tunnels produce a rather poisonous type of fungi. There is an antidote, of course, but we won't be bothering with it today. Come, this way instead. We're almost there.
I figured I add a little something about the commentary, why it is in the game and how we did it. As you probably have noticed by now, the quality of the recordings are a bit different. We tried our best, but as we do not have an office, everyone had to care for their own voice recording and make do with the equipment that they have. For me as a sound artist and for Mikko and Tapio, this was not really much of a problem. We all got our sound gear to rely on. But for the rest, they really had to work to make the best out of their chat.
find this place?
An old friend back in Algiers gave me a map.
Why isn't he with us? Didn't he want to come?
He wanted to, Daniel, but things don't always turn out the way we planned.
Kyllä TikTok. Just det. Pääsee. Not the I am. how... Ah, tem essa skin. Creio que fosse perfeito.
Conserving water from the spring.
Yes, it enables me to control the water in the drain sewers to some extent. Also, it can be used for all sorts of purposes.
Like for drinking?
Well, that too. But mostly to run different machines.
Ah, like water mill.
Exactly.
It turns out
This map is all about themes, and the action the player does are meant to reflect what happens in the diary entries. The player needs to turn the valves in order to progress, but at the same time, things go bad every time this is done. The level gets darker, the sound of someone being trapped gets louder, and the water lurker seems to be coming closer. Everything tells the player not to turn the valves, yet it must be done. Something that reflects how Daniel feels in the diaries.
Ninth of August, I must...
Do you see, Daniel? It has yielded.
Alexander along with Daniel makes up the foundation for the entire story. Together they make the core conflict. There was a lot of background for this character as he is in a sense the villain, so I wanted to do everything that I could to make him likable and have people sympathize with him. It's just the best way to make a bad guy. If we can have the player feel for their opponent, they might start questioning their own actions. Alexander's story is quite interesting in its own right, but in the end it was important to have the story deal with the relationship between Daniel and Alexander. That's why there is so much about the last few weeks and so little about the history of Alexander. Because after all, since we're playing Daniel and he seemed to want to get back at Alexander, we the player want to know how bad he really was and decide for ourselves if we think he should be punished.
I hear you breathing, Daniel. Do you hear me?
Have you changed your mind?
ridiculous. Why doesn't someone go to this room? Hey! Anybody? Am I all alone here? Help! Help! I'm so tired. If I sleep, I'll wake from this nightmare. If not, I pray my heavenly Father will take me in my sleep.
pipe you see here can be broken to be used later to join the mill. It is actually a model with two bodies joined by a hinge joint. To do this part of the puzzle, I first made it so you could break the joint at some point when pulling, but this just felt really strange. So I just asked James how we were doing this kind of stuff in the game, and he told me to just add some area that counted hits in the script. So every time the pipe collided with this area, certain variable was increased by 1. If you enable the debug window, you can see this area with activating the draw physics.
When I was looking at the concept art of Brute Monster, I thought that it should sound like one long tone, which is coming from the tube. Because it doesn't have mouth, it should sound like hollow. Thing which can make clear and complex vocalization. Firstly, I recorded lots of different kind of dogs and I edited them to play as one tone. I had lots of discussion with Jens and I think I got the right idea, but there was feeling that it was coming too close and it wasn't scary and blah blah blah. So it wasn't really scary, it was just big mess. I think I made something like 5 or 6 different versions, but problems didn't go away. Finally, I just removed the dog sounds and used my own voice. I made it with old metal sink, speaking through the tube and putting the microphone in front of the sink. And that way I got more control on the vocalization, and tube kind of sound was natural because it was coming from actual tube. I think Brute's movements were the easiest ones for me. I knew from the beginning how I wanted it to sound. I wanted it to be very metallic, since it has lots of metallic things in its body, and it should be a very heavy, scary guy. I was a little bit worried about how the high-pitched screeching would work, but it actually turned out great with the music, because the music is very low frequency and movement is high frequency, so
about me using the tools I am dedicated to develop is that I could get a close view on how they feel when working with them. And it's easier and quicker to get bugs fixed when working like this, as they usually get in the middle of the way and the only solution is just getting your hands dirty and fix them. This also works well for small features that don't take much time to add. I'm not sure which one I added from working on this level, but it usually starts like thinking, oh, being able to do this or that will be really nice, and ends up with the feature in the editor. Not everything works like this, you know. I actually have an endless list of stuff to add to the editors, but there is always so little time. It will come eventually, that's for sure, or maybe.
I told Thomas that I wanted a character that the player could look at, or at least know that someone was talking to him right now, as in no flashbacks, no ghosts or memories, just something solid the player could depend on being real. However, a character is really expensive stuff. You need a voice, a model, textures, animations, behavior. So we finally came up with this idea about a stationary character so we could cut down on animations and behavior. At this time, Agrippa was just a character, a real historical character actually, I had used as the writer for a letter found in the first stages of the game. But we upgraded him and made him a part of the plot. The reason I find him so valuable is that he joined the ranks of Daniel and Alexander, making this so much more complex and intriguing. And of course, it also quite naturally led to the split ending thing.
He was working on a way to heaven, a recipe for some sort of potion, a tonic to free me from this husk of mine.
Daniel, you have gone too far. I have to stop you. I can't let you proceed any further. I'm sorry, my friend.
How are things coming?
I told Thomas that I wanted a character that the player could look at, or at least know that someone was talking to him right now, as in no flashbacks, no ghosts, or memories. Just something solid the player could depend on being real. However, a character is really expensive stuff. You need a voice, a model, textures, animations, behavior. So we finally came up with this idea about a stationary character so we could cut down on animations and behavior. At this time, Agrippa was just a character, a real historical character actually, I had used as the writer for a letter found in the first stages of the game. But we upgraded him and made him a part of the plot. The reason I find him so valuable is that he joined the ranks of Daniel and Alexander, making this so much more complex and intriguing. And of course, it also quite naturally led to the split ending thing.
Just a little further.
It's like Orpheus descending into the underworld.
Are you hiding something?
What do you mean?
Never mind. Your intuition is...
The Torture Chancel was an interesting level. It made a clear break from all the claustrophobic tunnels that make up the majority of our levels. It also presented a challenge since we had to fill that space with interesting pieces and still be able to run it on older computers. The idea of the level is to give the player a sense of what is to come, and to give them a feeling that maybe all this was here, even before Alexander built his castle. As a contrast to the mystic shrines, we have an electric barrier in the back of the level. The idea and design of this bit is an homage to the movie Event Horizon.
Aonde?
Cells are meant to hold prisoners who are under treatment. The people you send for will end up here. Remember that the confinement itself works as a preamble to the torture, and you should pace yourself. Don't take anyone before they are ready.
Understood.
Sounds from the torture chambers are shuttled in through those pipes in the ceiling. Manage your victims well, and let one prisoner's pain instill terror in his cellmate.
How are things coming? Alexander is quite impressive in many ways.
For the torture levels, it was not all that fun to make the sounds. It has a nerve-wracking feeling to it, and I can't say that it is completely enjoyable to make entertainment out of such horrible contraptions. This part of the game is not for show and fun. Its purpose is to create an instinctive feel of horror and repulsion to what these devices are capable of. In the vision, as Daniel performs the ritual, the muffled sound of the man on the table is my own voice. I do some exclusive appearances throughout the game. In fact, in all Penumbra games I am fairly certain there is a Jens here and there. But nothing prior has been so disturbing to work with as in this vision, when having to tweak the flow and style of the events, and at the same time having to hear your own panicking, pleading, muffled voice.
Please, I didn't do anything. Paint the man, cut the lines. Paint the man, cut the lines. Please, the man cries. Now you see. I did well. One life for another. You hear me, guardian of the orb? I did all this for you. Now, once more, withdraw your shadow from my domain.
Alexander, there isn't much time. I can feel it. We must act swiftly. I will do whatever it takes.
Inspiration for this level came from the first Silent Hill game, when you run around in the town. I wanted to recreate the feeling of being lost, knowing that dangerous creatures lurked in the fog. I did not really like the map in the Silent Hill games though, as you always had to switch back and forth between it. So in all our games we tried to come up with other ways to help the player navigate. In this level it meant that you should follow the pipes. This was not really apparent to all people though, and that's why there's a little event at the start.
It is curiosity in league with your selfishness that is killing us both.
The inspiration for this level came from the first Silent Hill game, when you run around in the town. I wanted to recreate the feeling of being lost, knowing that dangerous creatures lurked in the fog. I did not really like the map in the Silent Hill games though, as you always had to switch back and forth between it. So in all our games we tried to come up with other ways to help the player navigate. In this level it meant that you should follow the pipes. This was not really apparent to all people though, and that's why there's a little event at the start.
The wheel is good for keeping your victims still during the procedure. They can be bound around the circumference or simply stretched across, tying limbs to the spokes and rim. All tools are by this point useful, and you may administer the torture in any way you like. But the forte of the wheel is the gaps. When you have decided that the victim shall die, you can smash their limbs with a hammer, making them fold in between the frame.
But they'll die. Too quickly, I mean.
No, don't worry. The human body is much more resilient. They can survive for days until they finally succumb.
The inspiration for this level came from the first Silent Hill game, when you run around in the town. I wanted to recreate the feeling of being lost, knowing that dangerous creatures lurked in the fog. I did not really like the map in the Silent Hill games though, as you always had to switch back and forth between it. So in all our games we tried to come up with other ways to help the player navigate. In this level it meant that you should follow the pipes. This was not really apparent to all people though, and that's why there's a little event at the start.
Nothing else. Incredible. You...
Baron, how much more am I supposed to withstand? Kill me, Orlin! Kill me!
This one. Prepare him.
Cradle is ready.
Good.
You're a man. How can you partake in this?
Is he all right?
He is one of the wicked. Don't pay his lies any attention.
I'm not a bad man. It was an accident.
He set a man on fire.
It wasn't my fault. Why won't anyone listen?
That's horrible.
Of course. We are dealing with monsters here.
No, please! Do anything! Whatever you want! Anything! Do anything! I'm innocent!
The staircase is inspired by The Haunting, the black and white version. I really love spiral staircases and I find there's something ominous about them. Also worth noting is that torture devices in the level are all real and that things similar to those depicted had happened in real life, even in present days. For example, Strappado is still a common torture.
is there something else?
I told Thomas that I wanted a character that the player could look at, or at least know that someone was talking to him right now, as in no flashbacks, no ghosts, or memories. Just something solid the player could depend on being real. However, a character is really expensive stuff. You need a voice, a model, textures, animations, behavior. So we finally came up with this idea about a stationary character so we could cut down on animations and behavior.
In this level, it is easily done to not see the whole level. If you have all the ore pieces when coming here, you will get captured at the start and will not get a chance to see the rest of the level. There is a whole area to the east consisting of 2 very detailed rooms, so if you end up being captured on your first visit, make sure to come visit again.
Staircase is inspired by The Haunting, the black and white version. I really love spiral staircases and I find there's something ominous about them. Also worth noting is that torture devices in the level are all real and that things similar to those depicted had happened in real life, even in present days. For example, Strappado is still a common torture method. As discussed in another commentary spot, we try to take the sub seriously and stay away from just divulging in gore and stuff.
You get it. You seem to have found all the ore pieces used in the transfer. Go to the choir and find the rest.
this level, it is easily done to not see the whole level. If you have all the ore pieces when coming here, you will get captured at the start and will not get a chance to see the rest of the level. There is a whole area to the east consisting of 2 very detailed rooms, so if you end up being captured on your first visit, make sure to come visit again.
Torture Chancel was an interesting level. It made a clear break from all the claustrophobic tunnels that make up the majority of our levels. It also presented a challenge since we had to fill that space with interesting pieces and still be able to run it on older computers. The idea of the level is to give the player a sense of what is to come, and to give them a feeling that maybe all this was here, even before Alexander built his castle. As a contrast to the mystic shrines, we have an electric barrier in the back of the level. The idea and design of this bit is an homage to the movie Event Horizon.
Mama, треба конусти.